tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby I have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.
Welcome back to the Goddess of Mystery and Mayhem. I will be bringing different topics to my channel to bring a variety of topics here. If there is a certain story you like me to do for any of you, put it in the comments and I will do it. Okay, let's begin our story. Tupac Amaru Shakur, born Lesane Parish, Crooks, June 16, 1971 to September 13, 1996, also known by his stage name Tupac and briefly Machiavelli, was an American rapper. He is widely considered one of the most influential and successful rappers of all time. Shakur is among the best-selling music artists, having sold more than 75 million records worldwide. Much of Shakur's music has been noted for addressing contemporary social issues that plagued inner cities, and he is considered a symbol of activism against inequality. Shakur was born in New York City to parents who were both political activists and Black Panther Party members. Raised by his mother, Afeni Shakur, he relocated to Baltimore in 1984 and to the San Francisco Bay Area in 1988. With the release of his debut album Tupacalypse Now in 1991, he became a central figure in West Coast hip-hop for his conscious rap lyrics. Shakur achieved further critical and commercial success with his follow-up albums Strictly for My Nigaz, 1993, and Me Against the World, 1995. His diamond-certified album All Eyes on Me, 1996, the first double-length album in hip-hop history, abandoned his introspective lyrics for volatile gangsta rap. In addition to his music career, Shakur also found considerable success as an actor, with his starring roles in Juice, 1992, Poetic Justice, 1993, Above the Rim, 1994, Bullet, 1996, Gridlocked, 1997, and Gang-Related, 1997. In the 1980s, Shakur's mother found it difficult to find work and she struggled with drug addiction. In 1984, his family moved from New York City to Baltimore, Maryland. He attended 8th grade at Roland Park Middle School, then 9th grade at Paul Laurence Dunbar High School. He transferred to the Baltimore School for the Arts in the 10th grade, where he studied acting, poetry, jazz, and ballet. He performed in Shakespeare's plays, depicting timeless themes, now seen in gang warfare, he would recall, and as the Mouse King role in the Nutcracker Ballet. At the Baltimore School for the Arts, Shakur befriended actress Jada Pinkett, who became the subject of some of his poems. With his friend Dana Mouse Smith as beatbox. He won competitions as reputedly the school's best rapper. Also known for his humor, he could mix with all crowds. He listened to a diverse range of music that included Kate Bush, Culture Club, Sinead O'Connor, and U2. Upon connecting with the Baltimore Young Communist League USA, Shakur dated Mary Baldridge, who was the daughter of the director of the local chapter of the Communist Party USA. Baldridge, who was white, was described as an attractive young woman who was raised to look past color. In 1988, Shakur moved to Marin City, California, an impoverished community in the San Francisco Bay Area. In nearby Mill Valley, he attended Tamalpay High School, where he performed in several theater productions. Shakur did not graduate from high school, but he later earned his GED. Shakur began recording under the stage name MC New York in 1989. That year, he began attending the poetry classes of Layla Steinberg, and she soon became his manager. Steinberg organized a concert for Shakur and his rap group Strictly Dope. Steinberg managed to get Shakur signed by Atron Gregory, manager of the rap group Digital Underground. In 1990, Gregory placed him with the Underground as a roadie and backup dancer. During the later part of his career, Shakur was shot 5 times in the lobby of a New York recording studio and experienced legal troubles, including incarceration. In 1995, Shakur served 8 months in prison on sexual abuse charges but was released pending an appeal of his conviction. Following his release, he signed to Marion Suge Knight's label Death Row Records, and became heavily involved in the growing East Coast-West Coast hip-hop rivalry. On September 7, 1996, Shakur was shot 4 times by an unidentified assailant in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas. He died 6 days later. Following his murder, Shakur's friend-turned-rival, the notorious B.I.G., was at first considered a suspect due to their public feud. He was also murdered in another drive-by shooting 6 months later in March 1997 while visiting Los Angeles. Shakur's double-length posthumous album Greatest Hits, 1998, is one of his 2 releases, and one of only 9 hip-hop albums to have been certified diamond in the United States. 5 more albums have been released since Shakur's death, including his critically acclaimed posthumous album The Don Killuminati, The 7-Day Theory, 1996, under his stage name Machiavelli, all of which have been certified platinum in the United States. In 2002, Shakur was inducted into the Hip Hop Hall of Fame. In 2017, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. Rolling Stone ranked Shakur among the 100 greatest artists of all time. In 2023, he was awarded a posthumous star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In January 1991, Shakur debuted under the stage name Tupac on Digital Underground, under a new record label, Interscope Records, on the group's January 1991 single, Same Song. The song was featured on the soundtrack of the 1991 film Nothing But Trouble, starring Dan Aykroyd, John Candy, Chevy Chase, and Demi Moore. The song opened the group's January 1991 EP titled This Is an EP Release, while Shakur appeared in the music video. At the request of Steinberg, Digital Underground co-founder Jimmy Chopmaster J. Dwight worked with Shakur, Ray Love, and Dies, a DJ, on their earliest studio recordings. Dwight recalls that Shakur didn't work well as part of a group, and added, "This guy was on a mission from day one. Maybe he knew he wasn't going to be around 7 years later." From 1988 to 1991, Dwight and Digital Underground produced Shakur's earliest work with his crew at the time, Strictly Dope. The recordings were rediscovered in 2000 and released as The Lost Tapes, circa 1989. Afeni Shakur sued to stop the sale of the recordings, but the suit was settled in June 2001 and re-released as Beginnings, The Lost Tapes 1988 to 1991. Shakur's early days with Digital Underground made him acquainted with Randy Stretch Walker, who along with his brother, dubbed Majesty, and a friend debuted with an EP as a rap group and production team, Live Squad, in the Queens, New York. Stretch was featured on a track of Digital Underground's 1991 album Sons of the P. Becoming fast friends, Shakur and Stretch recorded and performed together often. Shakur's debut album, Tupacalypse Now, alluding to the 1979 film Apocalypse Now, arrived in November 1991. Some prominent rappers, like Nas, Eminem, Game, and Talib Kweli, cite it as an inspiration. Aside from If My Homie Calls, the singles Trapped and Brenda's Got a Baby poetically depict individual struggles under socioeconomic disadvantage. U.S. Vice President Dan Quayle said, "There's no reason for a record like this to be released. It has no place in our society." Tupac, finding himself misunderstood, explained, in part, "I just wanted to rap about things that affected young black males. When I said that, I didn't know that I was gonna tie myself down to just take all the blunts and hits for all the young black males. To be the media's kicking post for young black males." In any case, Tupacalypse Now was certified gold, 500,000 copies sold. The album addresses urban black concerns said to remain relevant to the present day. Shakur's second album, Strictly for My Nigaz, was released in February 1993. A critical and commercial success, it debuted at number 24 on the pop albums chart, the Billboard 200. An overall more hardcore album, it emphasizes Tupac's socio-political views and has a metallic production quality. The song, Last Words, features Ice Cube, co-writer of N.W.A.'s Fuck the Police, who in his solo albums had newly gone militantly political, and gangsta rapper Ice-T, who in June 1992 had sparked controversy with his band Body Count's track, Cop Killer. In its vinyl release, Side A, tracks 1 to 8, is labeled the Black Side, while Side B, tracks 9 to 16, is the Dark Side. Nonetheless, the album carries the single, I Get Around, a party anthem featuring Digital Underground's Shock G and Money B, which became Shakur's breakthrough, reaching number 11 on the pop singles chart, the Billboard Hot 100. And it carries the optimistic compassion of another hit, Keep Ya Head Up, an anthem for women's empowerment. The album was certified platinum. In late 1993, Shakur formed the group Thug Life with Tyrus, Big Syke, Himes, Dyron, Makadoshis, Rivers, his stepbrother Mopreme Shakur, and Walter, Rated R, Burns. Thug Life released its only album, Thug Life, Volume 1, on October 11, 1994, which is certified gold. It carries the single, Pour Out a Little Liquor, produced by Johnny J. Jackson, who would also produce much of Shakur's album All Eyes on Me. Usually, Thug Life performed live without Tupac. The track also appears on the 1994 film Above the Rim soundtrack. Due to gangsta rap being under heavy criticism at the time, the album's original version was scrapped, and the album was redone with mostly new tracks. Still, along with Stretch, Tupac would perform the first planned single, Out on Bail, which was never released, at the 1994 Source Awards. In 1993, while visiting Los Angeles, the Notorious B.I.G. asked a local drug dealer to introduce him to Shakur, and they quickly became friends. The pair would socialize when Shakur went to New York or B.I.G. to Los Angeles. During this period, at his live shows, Shakur would call B.I.G. onto the stage to rap with him and Stretch. Together, they recorded the songs Runnin' from the Police and House of Pain. Reportedly, B.I.G. asked Shakur to manage him, whereupon Shakur advised him that Sean Combs would make him a star. Yet in the meantime, Shakur's lifestyle was comparatively lavish to B.I.G., who had not yet established himself. Shakur welcomed B.I.G. to join his side group Thug Life, but he would instead form his side group, the Junior MFIA, with his Brooklyn friends Lil Cease and Lil Kim. Shakur had a falling out with B.I.G. after he was shot at Quad Studios in 1994. Shakur's third album, Me Against the World, was released while he was incarcerated in March 1995. It is now hailed as his magnum opus and commonly ranks among the greatest, most influential rap albums. The album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 and sold 240,000 copies in its first week, setting a then record for the highest first-week sales for a solo male rapper. The lead single, Dear Mama, was released in February 1995 with Old School as the B-side. It is the album's most successful single, topping the Hot Rap Singles chart, and peaking at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100. In July, it was certified platinum. It ranked number 51 on the year-end charts. The second single, So Many Tears, was released in June 1995, reaching number 6 on the Hot Rap Singles chart and number 44 on the Hot 100. The final single, Temptations, was released in August 1995. It reached number 68 on the Hot 100, number 35 on the Hot R&B/Hip Hop Singles tracks, and number 13 on the Hot Rap Singles. Several celebrities showed their support for Shakur by appearing in the music video for Temptations. Shakur won Best Rap Album at the 1996 Soul Train Music Awards. In 2001, it ranked 4th among its total albums in sales, with about 3 million copies sold in the US. While Shakur was imprisoned in 1995, his mother was about to lose her house. Shakur had his wife Keisha Morris contact Death Row Records founder Suge Knight in Los Angeles. Reportedly, Shakur's mother promptly received $15,000. After an August visit to Clinton Correctional Facility in northern New York State, Knight traveled southward to New York City to attend the second annual Source Award ceremony. Meanwhile, an East Coast-West Coast hip-hop rivalry was brewing between Death Row and Bad Boy Records. In October 1995, Knight visited Shakur in prison again and posted a $1.4 million bond. Shakur returned to Los Angeles and joined Death Row with the appeal of his December 1994 conviction pending. Shakur's fourth album, All Eyes on Me, arrived on February 13, 1996. It was rap's first double album, meeting 2 of the 3 albums due in Shakur's contract with Death Row, and bore 5 singles. The album shows Shakur rapping about the gangsta lifestyle, leaving behind his previous political messages. With standout production, the album has more party tracks and often a triumphant tone. Music journalist Kevin Powell noted that Shakur, once released from prison, became more aggressive, and seemed like a completely transformed person. As Shakur's second album to hit number 1 on both the top R&B/Hip Hop Albums chart and the Pop Albums chart, the Billboard 200, it sold 566,000 copies in its first week and was certified 5 times multi-platinum in April. The singles, How Do You Want It and California Love reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Death Row released Shakur's diss track, Hit 'Em Up, as the non-album B-side to How Do You Want It. In this venomous tirade, the proclaimed Bad Boy Killer threatens violent payback on all things Bad Boy, B.I.G., Sean Combs, Jr. Mafia, The Company, and on any in the East Coast rap scene, like rap duo Mobb Deep and rapper Chino XL, who allegedly had commented against Shakur about the dispute. All Eyes on Me won R&B/Soul or Rap Album of the Year at the 1997 Soul Train Music Awards. At the 1997 American Music Awards, Shakur won Favorite Rap/Hip Hop Artist. The album was certified 9 times multi-platinum in June 1998. And 10 times in July 2014. At the time of his death, a 5th and final solo album was already finished, The Don Killuminati, The 7-Day Theory, under the stage name Machiavelli. It had been recorded in 1 week in August 1996 and released that year. The lyrics were written and recorded in 3 days, and mixing took another 4 days. In 2005, MTV.com ranked The 7-Day Theory at number 9 among hip-hop's greatest albums ever, and by 2006 a classic album. Its singular poignance, through hurt and rage, contemplation and vendetta, resonates with many fans. According to George Papa G. Price, Death Row Records' then Director of Public Relations, the album was meant to be underground, and was not intended for release before the artist was murdered. It peaked at number 1 on Billboard's top R&B/hip-hop albums chart and the Billboard 200, with the second highest debut week sales total of any album that year. On June 15, 1999, it was certified 4 times multi-platinum. Later posthumous albums are archival productions. These albums are: Shakur's first film appearance was in the 1991 film Nothing But Trouble, a cameo by the Digital Underground. In 1992, he starred in Juice, where he plays the fictional Roland Bishop, a militant and haunting individual. Rolling Stone's Peter Travers calls him the film's most magnetic figure. In 1993, Shakur starred alongside Janet Jackson in John Singleton's romance film, Poetic Justice. Singleton later fired Shakur from the 1995 film Higher Learning because the studio would not finance the film following his arrest. For the lead role in the eventual 2001 film Baby Boy, a role played by Tyrese Gibson, Singleton originally had Shakur in mind. Ultimately, the set design includes a Shakur mural in the protagonist's bedroom, and the film score includes Shakur's song, Hail Mary. Director Alan Hughes had cast Shakur as Sharif in the 1993 film Menace to Society but replaced him once Shakur assaulted him on set due to a discrepancy with the script. On October 31, 1993, Shakur was arrested in Atlanta for shooting 2 off-duty police officers, brothers Mark Whitwell and Scott Whitwell. The Atlanta police claimed the shooting occurred after the brothers were almost struck by a car carrying Shakur while they were crossing the street with their wives. As they argued with the driver, Shakur's car pulled up and he shot the Whitwells in the buttocks and the abdomen. However, there are conflicting accounts that the Whitwells were harassing a black motorist and uttered racial slurs. According to some witnesses, Shakur and his entourage had fired in self-defense as Mark Whitwell shot at them first. Shakur was charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault. Mark Whitwell was charged with firing at Shakur's car and later with making false statements to investigators. Scott Whitwell admitted to possessing a gun he had taken from a Henry County police evidence room. Prosecutors ultimately dropped all charges against both parties. Mark Whitwell resigned from the force 7 months after the shooting. Both brothers filed civil suits against Shakur. Mark Whitwell's suit was settled out of court, while Scott Whitwell's $2 million lawsuit resulted in a default judgment entered against the rapper's estate in 1998. On November 30, 1994, while in New York recording verses for a mixtape of Ron G., Shakur was repeatedly distracted by his beeper. Music manager James "Jimmy" Henchman Rosemond reportedly offered Shakur $7,000 to stop by Quad Studios, in Times Square, that night to record a verse for his client Little Sean. Shakur was unsure but agreed to the session as he needed the cash to offset legal costs. He arrived with Stretch and 1 or 2 others. In the lobby, 3 men robbed and beat him at gunpoint. Shakur resisted and was shot. Shakur speculated that the shooting had been a setup. Against the doctor's advice, Shakur checked out of Metropolitan Hospital Center a few hours after surgery and secretly went to the house of the actress Jasmine Guy to recuperate. The next day, Shakur arrived at a Manhattan courthouse bandaged in a wheelchair to receive the jury's verdict for his sexual abuse case. Shakur posted a $25,000 bond and spent the next few weeks being cared for by his mother and a private doctor at Guy's home. The Fruit of Islam and former members of the Black Panther Party stood guard to protect him. In a 1995 interview with Vibe, Shakur accused Sean Combs, Jimmy Henchman, and the notorious B.I.G., who were at Quad Studios at the time, among others, of setting up or being privy to the November 1994 robbery and shooting. Vibe alerted the names of the accused. The accusations were significant to the East-West Coast rivalry in hip-hop. In 1995, months after the robbery, Combs and B.I.G. released the track, Who Shot Ya?, which Shakur took as a mockery of his shooting and thought they could be responsible, so he released a diss song, Hit 'Em Up, in which he targeted B.I.G., Combs, their record label, Junior MFIA, and at the end of Hit 'Em Up, he mentions rivals Mobb Deep and Chino XL. In March 2008, Chuck Phillips, in the Los Angeles Times, reported on the 1994 ambush and shooting. The newspaper later retracted the article since it relied partially on FBI documents discovered forged, supplied by a man convicted of fraud. In June 2011, convicted murderer Dexter Isaac, incarcerated in Brooklyn, issued a confession that he had been one of the gunmen who had robbed and shot Shakur at henchman's order. Phillips then named Isaac as one of his own and retracted the article's unnamed sources. On the night of September 7, 1996, Shakur was in Las Vegas and Nevada to celebrate his business partner Tracy Danielle Robinson's birthday and attended the Bruce Seldon vs. Mike Tyson boxing match with Suge Knight at the MGM Grand. Afterward in the lobby, someone in their group spotted Orlando "Baby Lane" Anderson, a Southside Compton Crip, whom the individual accused of having recently tried to snatch his neck chain with a Death Row Records medallion in a shopping mall. The hotel surveillance footage shows the ensuing assault on Anderson. Shakur soon stopped by his hotel room and then headed with Knight to his Death Row nightclub, Club 662, in a black BMW 750iL sedan, part of a larger convoy. At about 11 p.m. on Las Vegas Boulevard, bicycle-mounted police stopped the car for its loud music and lack of license plates. The plates were found in the trunk and the car was released without a ticket. At about 11:15 p.m. at a stoplight, a white, four-door, late-model Cadillac sedan pulled up to the passenger side and an occupant rapidly fired into the car. Shakur was struck 4 times, once in the arm, once in the thigh, and twice in the chest with one bullet entering his right lung. The shards hit Knight's head. Frank Alexander, Shakur's bodyguard, was not in the car at the time. He would say he had been tasked to drive the car of Shakur's girlfriend, Kid Ada Jones. Shakur was taken to the University Medical Center of Southern Nevada where he was heavily sedated and put on life support. In the intensive care unit on the afternoon of September 13, 1996, Shakur died from internal bleeding. He was pronounced dead at 4:03 p.m. The official causes of death are respiratory failure and cardiopulmonary arrest associated with multiple gunshot wounds. Shakur's body was cremated the next day. Members of the Outlaws, recalling a line in his song, Black Jesus, although uncertain of the artist's attempt at a literal meaning, chose to interpret the request seriously, smoked some of his bodies. Ashes after mixing them with marijuana. In 2002, investigative journalist Chuck Phillips, after a year of work, reported in the Los Angeles Times that Anderson, a Southside Compton Crip, having been attacked by Suge and Shakur's entourage at the MGM Hotel after the boxing match, had fired the fatal gunshots, but that Las Vegas police had interviewed him only once, briefly, before he died in an unrelated shooting. Phillips's 2002 article also alleges the involvement of Christopher "Notorious B.I.G." Wallace and several others within New York City's criminal underworld. Both Anderson and Wallace denied involvement, while Wallace offered a confirmed alibi. In the New York Times, music journalist John Leland called the evidence inconclusive. In 2011, via the Freedom of Information Act, the FBI released documents related to its investigation which described an extortion scheme by the Jewish Defense League, classified as a right-wing terrorist group by the FBI, that included making death threats against Shakur and other rappers but did not indicate a direct connection to his murder. Tupac left us all too soon, but his music will live on forever.
I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours or more, it's 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in for a long time. Get up, now I ain't a quitter. Tossing the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. I send the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back better than last year. It's new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes. I take shots to the top, I got one life, I do all the way. I do what's right, pushing like always. I'm gonna get back, go stand for the ring. I got guts, real deep, it goes so I have the water, I think in my head, the heart, I get chewed up, shit, I'm torn apart, picking up all the pieces to form a bone. Never